Yeah.
So we have trust so far. We've got honesty, and the one that I love the most is resilience. I think that in today's world is so vital. Greetings, namaste, and welcome to another bright and joyful episode of Humans on Happiness. Today is a very special episode. I say this about all my episodes, they're all special. I'm with two very beautiful people, Deb, Pete, and we're here at their beautiful residence called Carillon, which means a string of bells.
That's correct.
I wish I could actually show you a tour of this place. It is absolutely gorgeous, and we've got a spread for ourselves, so what more could we ask for? So Deb, Pete, first of all, thank you for being our happy humans for today. It gives me great pleasure to go out to many people and then grab your stories. For the purpose of this episode, can we kind of broadly assume your age between 40 to 50?
Yeah, very kind.
Do you mean added together?
No, so it's 50 to 60, 40 to 50?
50 to 60.
50 to 60?
And 60 to
60 to
70.
70, yeah.
So the way I like to say it is those many years, we've got 5 or 6 decades put together of wisdom, joy and experiences. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is what we're here to capture, on what their experience has been living a joyful and a blissful life. So we'll get straight to it. We'll start off with understanding the stories of Deb and Pete individually. If there was a story, what would the story say about you? What is the story of Deb?
One of 7 children, and I'm close to the bottom, so I'm number 6 out of 7. And so all my other brothers and sisters think that I've been spoiled because I'm, near the youngest. So I've had an amazing childhood, amazing growing up. We've got 3 beautiful boys, 2 are married, 6 beautiful grandchildren. So great little family. They bring lots of joy. So watching them grow up, watching them change, and I guess my work life, I sort of don't really haven't had one consistent element, to my life. I like to just, do what I think is right at the time. Some choices have been better than others. Some you wish you could go back and go, dang, that might not have been such a smart one. But overall, very, very, very fortunate. Still married to the same man for 40 odd years.
I guess you did well.
Yeah, I'm fortunate, very fortunate.
Yeah. So that's sort of just a little bit about me. Nothing. I mean, I love my chooks. I should have worn my shirt that just says "just want to play in my garden and hang out with my chickens," but I didn't put that on today. But yeah, they're my favourite thing. And my dog Bella, she makes me laugh every day. So she's a pleasure to have her as part of my life too, which I really like.
That is wonderful. Pete, the story of Pete.
From Sydney also. Deb and I lived about 2 kilometres or 3 kilometres away from each other. We went to the same school, but not at the same time. 35 years apart. No, only 6 years apart. One of 5 kids, of 2 brothers and 2 sisters. Had great parents who both passed away, same as Deb's mum and dad. Great household we grew up in, and decided to make the tree change to Wagga to experience something different. I actually applied for my original work was in sport and recreation, community work with kids mainly. So I applied for a job down here and sport and recreation camp. Yeah, been here since then and enjoying life.
And I'm actually going to start off with that very point. Having grown up in a large family, how does it contribute to your values or who you are today?
I think the main thing for me was probably having to share. For the first 12, 15 months, when we moved from Sydney to Wagga, we moved in with my sister who had 5 children. So that meant there was 12 of us in the one house. Then my mum came because she broke her ankle. Then my dad came because he missed my mum, that was 14. and a young bloke who you knew in Sydney said, "Can I just get a bed for a couple of weeks until I find a house?" That was August, and he left on the 24th of December. So for quite a long time there was 15 of us living in the house and not one argument. So, I guess when you're in a family that can operate like that, that can only bring, a positive element to your life. And that was just, that's just the sort of house we had. That was just, Mum was always so welcoming. It didn't matter who you were, where you're from, if you needed something, or just as like a nice thing to do, not because people needed to stay always, but I just remember my mum and dad both being very obliging and giving, and family just became family because you were there, not because you had any entitlement.
I think two biggest takeaways from what we've just heard from Deb is, one, that living in a large family brings about that value of sharing, and also that amount of empathy and compromise. But what I really loved what she said is, family is when you're just there, and it's not, family comes from being there with each other and not necessarily a sense of entitlement. And that's beautiful. What are your thoughts, Pete, on the value of family?
I think that's sharing, but the other part of that is your value base and where you get that value base from, because your parents' values cross over to you, so that honesty, that discipline, that willingness to share things, to be good to others, things like that. I think it's not only just sharing, it's those personal values that your parents or whoever instills in you, because some people aren't lucky enough to have even one parent. They grow up by themselves or with in a foster home or something else. So I think they don't have the opportunity for parents to instill those personal values in there, and you watch and you listen and you learn about how they conduct themselves. And that's not just parents, that's grandparents and other people that come through the household. So you don't think it at the time, but you can see the impact it has later on in your life.
How would you then suggest or recommend, can we instill those sense of values amongst the youth or the children of today in absence of a strong family framework?
I think you need an older role model of some kind, and you need, if the parents are absent, you need to have someone in your life that is a role model that you can look up to, and that will help you along the way, because you're not born with these things. You learn these things, and you're educated. You're educated in school, and you're educated in life, and you need someone as a mentor if you don't have a parent or you're in a distance from a place. And that's why things like Facebook, I see, are a good thing at times, because and plus Zoom and other things we're having now, because it's one connection that you can have with someone. And as long as you have a connection with someone, whether it be face to face or whether it be across other parts of the world or in a state, it's still a connection with someone.
So now kind of shifting to that happiness front, or on a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate yourself as to how happy are you?
10. I almost would feel guilty if I didn't say 10, because I think if someone else looked at my life, and I remember a lady said this to me one time, she just said to me, I'm jealous of your life. And it wasn't a bad thing. I didn't feel bad when she said it. I felt very privileged at that point in time, especially for someone to have said that to me. Excuse me, is pretty nice, isn't it, really? So yeah.
I think that's a big piece of advice to everyone watching, that whenever you feel down, whenever you're faced with adversity or you're faced with a tough time, think of at least 2 people that may be jealous of your life, and put the whole world into perspective, and look at the problems that many people in the world are facing. Compare that to the problem that you are faced with, and how does that look across? And on that note, coming to Pete, is there something that you do on a regular basis to remain happy?
We had this lecturer from the USA, and he used to say what you should do every morning is get out of bed and say, "Man, it's great to be alive."
Right.
And I've remembered that since I was about 18. And I think every day I don't do it, jump out of bed and say that, but that's the way I feel. But I think your attitude will determine your altitude. So your attitude to what life is.
Can I pause it? I'd like to hashtag that. Your attitude determines your altitude. Wow, I'm going to hashtag that. Thank you.
Yeah, it's probably
Continue.
it's not mine, but when I worked at the uni with 18 and 25-year-olds, often we would talk about attitude and what attitude meant, and you can determine your attitude on any given day. If you're having a really bad day, and everyone has really bad days, but it's your response to that is how you're going to treat it. So I suppose Deb and I both determine our happiness sometimes about our attitude towards something. Don't let it get you down.
And it is your attitude which contributes towards how positive, how grateful, and ultimately how happy you can be. So, question to you is, do you have the attitude to go high and to be happy? So, you may have been wondering, what's this platter doing over here? Well, obviously it's the hospitality of Deb and Pete. I think Pete who kind of chopped it up and put it up together.
Yeah, I did it all. Yeah, it's all me.
So thank you, Pete.
Yeah.
But it's given me this idea that I'm going to ask these two. They were not prepared for it. I'm going to drop it on them. So Deb and Pete, imagine this in front of us is the platter of happiness, and it's got some stuff in it. However, I'd like you to load it up with at least 5 key ingredients that would help build a happy life.
I would say honesty would be one.
Honesty.
That I put in there, and trust is another one. And these are just mine. Deb probably have another 5.
That's all right.
Because without honesty and trust, that brings about dependability, and that is a real basis to go forward in any kind of relationship. And I think resilience is another one that you need, because life is not easy at times. So, and we can all talk about our attitude and our happiness, but you got to be resilient. When you're down, then you got to be able to get back up again. And people will not judge you by how many times you get knocked down, but if you can keep on getting back up again, even at your lowest ebb, and say, "Yep, I can still get up again." And but that resilience, I think, is a key element in our platter, as well as trust and honesty. Yeah.
So we have trust so far. We've got honesty, and the one that I love the most is resilience. I think that in today's world is so vital. Deb, we still have a lot of stuff left.
Yeah, I think for me, I have a faith, and I have no doubt about what drives that. So experience and confidence, I guess, in something bigger than me, that the world's not reliant on me to keep it ticking. And just for me, so forgiveness would be one of the major drivers of happiness for me, because you don't hold on to things. If someone else has done something to you, you can let it go. But there's also that element of being able to forgive yourself as well. So I guess faith and forgiveness for me would be the two major ones. Gratitude is probably the other 3-legged part of the stool that would sit under the platter, maybe. I don't know.
I think it's turned out to be something beautiful. So I'll start off with what I feel makes the flour of this ingredient, which is being grateful. That's being grateful there. So I think no positivity or no part of being happy is complete without being grateful. And I loved what you said. It's not a must that you need to be grateful for just what happens to you. Also being grateful about things around you. For that matter, the way I like to put it is simply something bad not happening in your day, or something negative not happening, as well as is something you can be grateful for. A problem not happening in your life, something to be grateful for. Someone else having something nice happening in their life, something to be grateful for, right? And then moving on to forgiveness, right? Forgiveness is so important, because a lot of us unintentionally tend to hurt people, right? Or intentionally as well. And I think that connects to the next point of faith, right? Having that faith in anything that you believe in, right? It need not be religion. It could be a faith in a power. I think all of us agree, and even scientists who are watching this may agree that yes, you are trying to figure out that how we came from the Big Bang. However, there are still so many questions unanswered on the existence and sustaining of humanity and the world. So all of that, I think, is by this superpower, God, religion, whatever it is. But yes, having a faith in life, in destiny, in the person upstairs, man, woman, or whichever gender they are upstairs, I think matters a great deal. So, ladies and gentlemen, we've got a beautiful platter of happiness. Thank you both for making it happen. So what would be your advice to the young people out there on what can they do on a regular basis to be happy and positive?